In the previous class, we have discussed regarding the different types of units of measurements. In that, we have seen how we are going to measure the length, the area, and the volume, along with the different units of measurement. That is the British unit and the metric system. In that, also we have seen regarding the various conversion factor, how we need to convert meter into feet, meter to centimeter, how we need to convert that. All these things we have studied in the previous class. In today's class, we are going to discuss regarding how those particular units will be utilized in the subject of surveying, or as an civil engineer, how we are going to take the utilization of those particular units when we are going to prepare a map or we are going to prepare a plan. So, in today's class, we are going to discuss in detail regarding what is a map or a plan, and what is a map or a plan scale, and then different classification of maps, then what are the different conventional symbols that we are going to use in map, okay, then what is a map layout. So, this is what we are going to study in today's class. So, we will see first in surveying, whatever the objects we are going to see, as I have told, whatever the objects we see it on a ground, we are going to prepare it on a sheet of paper with having the converted scale. See, as the object is larger, we cannot put this particular entire object or this particular entire area as it is on a sheet of paper. So, what we exactly do is we are going to convert this particular area or that particular zone into a reduced scale. So, the main work, what is map, is nothing but in surveying, what we exactly do is whatever the object we are going to see it on a ground, we are going to convert it into a sheet of paper. So, whatever the objects are there on that particular area or that particular this thing, we are going to get the knowledge about it on a exactly on a small sheet of a paper. Okay, this is what the exactly what we do in surveying, or as a civil engineer, the understanding this particular concept is very important. Now, what is an objective of a survey is? It is nothing but it is a preparation of plan or map. Okay, the result of survey, that is after having the survey of this particular ground, okay, when plotted on a sheet of paper, it constitutes a plan, or it constitutes a map. When it is a plan and when it is a map, we will be understanding it soon. Okay, a plan is therefore a representation to some scale. We represent it, whatever the object, whatever we have got it on the ground, we represent it on some scale. Okay, now if the representation scale is large, okay, if the representation scale is large, okay, here what we represent here in if the scale is large is, we either represent an estate or a building. Okay, so if the scale is large, then we call it as an plan. Okay, what is how it, that is large, and how it is small, I will tell you. And if the scale of a map is small, okay, if a scale of a map is small, we call it as an map. Here we in a map we can represent, say, one particular city or one particular area of a city, or say a particular state or particular district or one nation. We represent it on a map. If the scale is small, it is called as a map, okay, and if the scale is large, it is called a plan. Okay, so this is regarding, if this is regarding what is a plan and what is a map. If the scale is large, it is a plan, and if the scale is small, it is a map. Okay, now whenever we are going to say whenever we are going to convert some particular area or into object into a particular sheet, we use a scale. Okay, now what is this scale? Okay, now suppose, now scale is nothing but a fixed ratio, okay, It is nothing but a fixed ratio which is going to have the distance on a plan or a map with the corresponding to the distance on a ground. Okay, now suppose whatever the distance, suppose 1 centimeter. Okay, suppose you have a one plan with you. On that 1 centimeter on a plan, okay, 1 centimeter, that is 1 centimeter on this particular sheet if you are having, right, if it is going to represent 100 meter, okay, if it is going to represent 100 meter on ground, okay, this is on ground and this is on a sheet of paper, or you can say it as a plan or a map, right. This 1 centimeter on this particular sheet, and it represents 1 centimeter is equal to 100 meter is nothing but 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper represents the 100 meter on a ground. I think you have understood it. It is nothing but, what is a scale is nothing but, it is nothing but the fixed ratio that every distance on a plan, or map with the corresponding distance on a ground. 1 centimeter on a plan represents the 100 meter on a ground. 1 centimeter on a plan represents the 100 meter on a ground. That is nothing but called as a map scale. But why we do have this map scale? See, we cannot have, suppose this is an 100 square meter of area is there. Now our sheet of paper won't be that much large. So what we do is, whatever this particular area or the object is there, we are going to convert it on some scale. That is 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper represents the 100 meter on a ground. This is just for an example. Now this particular map scale is divided into 3 parts. Okay, this particular map scale is going to be divided into 3 parts. That is, scale is large scale, medium scale, and say a small scale. Okay, large scale, okay, medium scale, and the small scale. Here I have, by mistake I have written it as a large, it is a small scale. Okay, it is a small scale. So we have divided a map scale into 3 types, that is large scale, medium scale, and the map scale, or a small scale. Now what is a large scale? Here the large scale is nothing but 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper. Okay, 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper. If it represent 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper, if it is representing 10 meter on a ground, okay, 10 meter on a ground, then we call it as a large scale. 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper and 10 meter on a ground, then the object will look larger. Okay, the object 1 centimeter on a ground and 1 centimeter on a paper and 10 meter on a ground, right. Now here you can see 1 centimeter and 10 meter. So the object will look large. So we call it as a large scale. See, this type of a conversion here we are going to use it in case of normally when we want to prepare a plan and all, we are going to use it. Large scale we will be normally using it. Now, so 1 centimeter is equal to say 110 meter, 1 centimeter on a paper is equal to 100 to 10 to 100 meter, then we call it as a medium scale. 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper to 10 meter to 100 meter on a ground, then we call it as a medium scale. We will be using it for either for a plan or a map. So it is nothing but called as a medium scale. Now 1 centimeter ground on a ground is equal to, okay, 1 centimeter on a ground, if it is more than 100 meter, okay, more than 100 meter, if it is representing on a ground, 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper, if it is representing more than 100 meter on a ground, then we call it as a small scale, as the object will look small. See here 1 centimeter is equal to 100 meters, so the object will look small, so we call it as a small scale. See, as a civil engineer, the understanding this large scale, medium scale, and the small scale is very, very important, because whenever you want to draw a particular object on a sheet of paper, this scaling you need to fix it first. Without fixing up the scale, it will become very difficult in order to understand the map. So this is very important as a civil engineer aspect. This scale, representation of a scale, we represent it in a three different ways. One way we call it as an engineer scale, one way we call it as a representative factor, and one is the graphical scale. So we represent this scale in three parts. One is engineer scale, representative scale factor, and the graphical scale. Okay, now engineer scale, 1 centimeter on a sheet of paper is equal to x meter on a ground. It might be 10 meter, it might be 100 meter, or it might be in terms of kilometer. Okay, then we call it as an engineer's scale. Then representative factor, this we needed to understand what is a representative factor. A representative factor is nothing but the ratio of distance on drawing sheet to the corresponding actual distance or length on a ground. Okay, it is nothing but the ratio of a distance on a drawing sheet to the corresponding distance on a corresponding actual length of a object on a ground is known as a representation factor. Now if 1 centimeter, if you are representing it on a drawing sheet, and corresponding distance on a ground is 100, say 1 meter. Okay, 1 centimeter on a drawing sheet, if you are representing corresponding distance on the ground, then representation factor. See, I have already told you 1 meter. Okay, 1 meter is having how many centimeter? It is going to have the 100 centimeter. So here what we have done is this meter we have converted into centimeter. So 1 centimeter divided by 100 centimeter. So the ratio will be 1 divided by 100. Okay, so it is the representation factor will be 1:100. Okay, now larger, one thing we need to understand regarding the representation scale is larger the denominator of a representation scale. Okay, if the denominator of a representative factor, if it is large, okay, then the scale will be the smaller. Okay, larger the denominator of the representation scale, the smaller is the scale of a map. This we needed to understand. Then we are going to have one more the thing is, that is a graphical scale. Okay, it is indicated by a line drawn on a map so as the distances corresponds to convenient units of a length on a ground. The graphical scale have an advantage over the numerical scale, that it is the distance on a map can be determined by the actual scaling even when the map is shrunk. Okay, sometimes the map is going to shrunk, at that time the graphical scale is going to be helpful. So this is regarding the different representation of scales. Now we will see what are the different types of maps we are going to have. We are going to have around 7 types of maps. In that, first one is a political map. Now what is a political map? Okay, these maps are usually colored by a country or by a state. We are normally political map we are going to represent for a country or a state. Political colors make it easy to compare size. It is going to help to compare the size, shape and location and of the various say country or might be a state. Okay, then political maps also name certain physical features such as rivers and lakes. Here we are going to political map, we are going to use it for, I think you have seen these kind of maps where the different states or different countries are named by the, or it has been recognized by different colors, which also shows some of the rivers and lakes or say some other natural things which are present in that particular state or a nation. Next is the physical map. It represents the different types of vegetation and mountain and the natural features which are present on these particular maps. They also show some of the political information such as the boundaries, the different boundaries of the countries, states, as well as the water bodies, etc., etc. Okay, next is the road maps. Okay, These are the maps, as the name is indicating. It is going to show the interstate system, the connect. It shows the highways and the smaller roads, district road, say national highways or district road or state highway. It shows in a map. It shows the information about all the regarding the different types of roads. Now, as the climatic map, it is a map which is going to show the climate of a place, okay, whether from season to season or year after year. Rainfall and temperature are the major ingredients of these climatic map. And if it is due to the climate, how it is going to be get affected from elevation, distance, and from the ocean and latitude. This is going to represent it, that mainly it is going to represent the climate of that particular area. Then the your land use resource map. Okay, now these maps, it is going to show regarding the vegetation, crops being grown over there, and forest versus agricultural area, then mines, as well as different types of wells and the city zones. It is going to show regarding in these particular maps. Next is contour maps. I think I have told you regarding the contour. The contour maps are the imaginary lines, or the contour lines are the imaginary lines which are joining the places having the same elevation above the mean sea level. These are going to have the contour maps will show you the presence of valleys, cliff, okay, all these it is going to show the all such important information regarding the different kinds of valleys present and all. It is going to give you an information regarding that. The contour lines or a map provide a useful insight of the topography of an area. It is going to give you the topography, how the topography of that particular area is there. Then next thing is, important thing is the topographical maps. Okay, these maps are generally represent the small area. Okay, it is going to represent a very small area with a lot of detail, such as they are going to show the elevation with the contour lines, okay, natural and man-made features. These maps they are relatively, they are of the larger scale. That means they are the things whatever you are going to see in these maps will be larger, and they are going to show an important cultures such as the vegetation, water bodies, cultivated land, settlements, transportation network and all you can see. And here the mountains, valleys, hills, okay, and all such kind of an information you are going to get regarding the topographical map. So this is regarding the different types of maps. In that we are having 7 different types of maps: political, physical, road, climate, then land use resource, the contour maps, and then topographical maps. Now we'll see regarding how the different map layout should be. The map layout should consist of all these information regarding the title, legend, then scale bar, inset map, credit note, date, logo, and then north arrow. Okay, your map, whenever if you have drawn a map, then it should consist all these such kind of an information. Now what the title gives is, it is going to describe the name and the type of map, okay, whether it is a political map, physical map, road map, okay. Then it provides the primary content of the map. Then the legend, it is the graphic guide to provide the symbols or whatever the different symbols that you are going to use in that particular map. Might be it is showing the road, trees, or forest, or mountain. It is going to which is going to be shown by the legend. Next is the scale bar. Okay, large scale map should always include the scale bar. Okay, the map scale is a unit of measurement on a map related to the appropriate number of same units on the earth surface. As I have told, the scale bar. What is the scale? Here we, on a map, what scale it has been drawn, and the information should be there. Then insert map. It is the magnified part of a certain specific area within the detailed representation of the of that particular area. That this will on a map I will show what are those elements and all. And then credit note. Credit note, it includes the map's data source on indication of their reliability, dates, and the other explanatory material will be there on that. Then a date, the date and the time of the publication of that particular map, it will be maintained on that particular map. Then a logo, it is a company identifier, the logo will be there. Then this is very very important. As a civil engineer, you should always show your map with the direction. The north direction should always it should be shown, so that you can understand what are the different direction, where the particular location is situated with respect to the north. It should be always, all these things should be there on a map. For example, I will show you one particular map. This is how your layout of a map should be there. Here whatever I have told, here the legend, right, the different aspects whatever you are going to mention in the your this entire area, okay, entire your map, it should be shown in the legend. Then this is your main map, and then inset map, the whatever the area you want to show, here the enlarged section of this will be here, and the larger section, your entire area will be covered here, and this is an enlarged section. So I think inset map is understood. Then here you are going to have the graphic notes, then the source, then a scale indicator. Here you need to have the scale. Here you are going to see some lines, these are nothing but the scale, and here the arrow north, n represents here the orientation or the direction of the map, okay. And then here is your main title, right, just I have told the title. Then the main map, okay, this is an enlarged section, this is the smaller section, this is an enlarged section, okay. Graphics and all these things have been already covered. Whatever I have told regarding how the map should be, it is already covered. So this is regarding the different types of your map, how the map layout should be. Again, there are some of the conventional symbols that we are going to use in order to prepare a map. That in regarding that, the conventional symbols that we are going to use, and then what is the precision, what is accuracy, then some of the numbering system, that we are going to study in the next class. Thank you.